Alright folks, looks like we're recording. And if you're eagle-eyed and can see in the mirror there, you'll see this is a new camera. So, a couple small changes coming to the channel, or at least how I make videos. Decided to go for the new Ace Pro from Insta360 that's got the Leica lens and a bunch of good stuff. Better video, can do 8K. And then we're going to do 4K 60 and try to dial in the settings. And then we're going to play around with the microphones, because I'll have to go through that whole thing again of trying to find the right microphone with the right levels and all that shit. So I'm going back to what I think, I don't know if this is the Purple Panda or Giant Squid, one of the old microphones I used to use. This one, the camera allows you to turn the gain down to -18. So we'll see if that's enough, or if the mic is too sensitive and at high wind speeds I get crackling and distortion. Some of that could be from the gain being too high. I've got it knocked down all the way. Some of it could be because the ambient noise is just too loud for the microphone itself and it causes clipping. So we're going to see what's up. I want to play with the settings because this thing's got active HDR and horizon leveling, so different parts of the video. Right now this is on action view, which I believe is like the widest. It will have some distortion around the edges because of the fisheye effect and stuff like that. Where are we going to ride today? Let's go over Beaufort Dam and, I don't know, maybe head up 400, go towards the mountains or something. It's not supposed to rain. It could rain, which means it probably will rain, but there are blue skies coming in and it's supposed to be gorgeous by 6 o'clock and tomorrow. So I'm gonna assume that maybe there's not gonna be much more in the way of rain. Little VMAX there from Yamaha. Quite the bike in its day. So we'll go ahead and play around with different settings. So, playing around with different mounts. You may notice down here, I've got a mount set up for a RAM mount, so I can put the camera here. The problem is, unless you have a GoPro, they seem to have figured out the whole wind reduction thing. Nobody else ever has. And so having it there to get like, oh, just bike audio, that is the one area that GoPro has the advantage. They no longer have the advantage in the video quality and features and things. They tend to overheat and be unreliable. You know, if you're snowboarding or in the water or something and doing quick clips, you know, they work pretty well. When you're gonna have the hammer on for half an hour, especially when you're in the south where it's typically hot, even with the wind on it, they just tend to overheat and lock up. And it's been a problem since the 9. It extended into the 10, the 11, and still the 12. And it has to do with the thermal design. They're packing like this really powerful processor and as compact of a thing as they can, and it can do all kinds of cool stuff, but then it heats up and it's got no way to dissipate that heat. They should put some fins on the outside, but they take the approach kind of like Apple of, our fans are our fans, and they'll go, you know, if we put our logo on a dog turd, Apple fans will buy it and claim that it's brave and innovative. And GoPro tends to take that same approach with their customers, that, hey, people like GoPro, they want GoPro, that's the name brand. You know, they'll go ahead and buy that regardless of whether it works well or not. And their core customers typically do. And so they have a lot of problems, so they don't work for a lot of people. So these guys have come along and they make a pretty good product. And this new Ace Pro, it's got a flip-up screen. So if you're doing vlogging and you want to stand in front of your camera, you have the full-size screen you normally see on the back can be on the front now. The front screen is a touch screen to change your settings. It does 8K at 24 frames. And then I think it does 120 at 4K and horizon steady, and 360-degree horizon leveling, so you can literally turn the camera around in a circle. It crops in to do it, so you lose some of your field of view, but whatever is in view is absolutely seamless, and you could tilt your head and do all kinds of things, and the camera angle doesn't change. It's really kind of cool, so it gives it like this incredible gimbal-like look. So that's what I'm going to be experimenting with. I want to play with the settings and see. I've got EV compensation at -0.5. I'm using vivid color panel, color palette, highest bit rate, 4K 60, active HDR. I think will only come on at 30 frames though, so I'm not using HDR right now. What else? I don't know. Got a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different settings at some point. Once I figure out what works, I'll do a video and go through my settings of what I found to work. Because there's different, you know, it's not just, oh, here's the best settings for the camera. What's the best settings for what you're trying to do? One of the things I need to do apparently is get gas, so we'll do that. This one can also pause recordings, so if you're recording and then you're sitting at a traffic light for 3 minutes, you can actually pause it. It's got a lot of neat stuff. One of the neatest things that I'm really looking forward to is when I do replace my Cena or Cardo, or I go to a Cardo, whatever it is I go to, there's going to be, this thing has the ability to plug in digitally. I can connect my comm system with the camera. What that's going to allow me to do is use the really amazing noise canceling microphones from the comm system and overlay it on the video. This will have a couple benefits. It'll let me put the camera anywhere I want. You know, right now I've got it here, and then I've got a separate mic from, you know, having a comm mic. So then you got to have two microphones wedged in the front of your camera, and then you've got to have all the spare wires coiled up and tucked under the cheek piece, and then some of it has to come out and flop around until you plug it into the camera, which needs an adapter. And when you have the camera, the audio adapter on the camera, you lose some of your waterproof features, because there's a rubber sealed trap door that normally covers that. You know, it's still fairly water resistant, but in a thunderstorm you could absolutely get water into the SD card slot. You know, so having to have the external mic set up that way causes those issues. Plus then I have a cord here, and I had that happen once when I was on track, because they won't let you have the damn camera on track on your helmet. But I think you could probably sneak out there with just the little Cardo if you get the small one that clicks on the side of the helmet. So when I had the camera mounted here, I think on the ZX14, I had to have the wires from the microphone going down my jacket, out the bottom of the jacket, and up to here, which means I got this cord flailing around. And then at one point my elbow hit it, and it ripped the wire out. One time I ripped the wires, broke the wires. Another time it jerked, it didn't break the wires, but it pulled hard enough that it tilted the camera up, so now the camera's still pointing at the sky, and I'm getting shit video. All you could see was sky, and then when I would go under the bridge, it wrote Atlanta, so that didn't work so well. So being able to put the camera here, or on the back of the bike facing backwards, and then this, you know, and then doing Bluetooth microphone in from the comms, and the comms tend to have really good microphones. Like, I've had phone calls with people, and they didn't realize I was going down the road at 80 miles an hour on a motorcycle. They thought I was sitting in my office. The downside is I might lose a little bit of the engine noise, but you know, everything's a trade-off, right? But it would be really nice to have good, crisp audio no matter how fast I'm going, and not have the extra wires and all that kind of crap. So that to me would be pretty sweet. And then I could have the camera facing backwards, and I don't have to worry about trying to route a wire from my helmet through my jacket, out the back of the jacket to the camera, without somehow ripping it out when I get on and off the bike and ruining it. I need to research and see if there's a way to have the audio from the people you're talking to. That would be the shiz. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and gas up. I don't know. I'll I'll stop talking now because I'll have to take this part out. So anyway, we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back, full tank. Let's see, what was gas? $4.46 a gallon. Thanks, Joe Biden. You're awesome. He did that. Anyway. So that being able to use Cena or Cardo, you know, so if you're already going to have a headset wired into the helmet, and the wire's all tucked away, it'd be nice to just take the camera and go click, click, click on the back of the bike, wherever it is you want, and you just have audio without additional wires, plugs, adapters. You retain the waterproofing because you'll be able to put that little trap door back on because you don't have the audio adapter to go to the headphone jack for the... It's going to be tremendous. That would be really, really amazing. So I'm going to have to do that. So I was going to wait until the next generation of Cena to come out before spending the money, because I just don't want to spend $270 on a 2-year-old product. I've already had one. It's a good enough product, but I know the second I buy one, a week later they're going to announce the new, much better version. So there is a new Cardo out. It is a little more money, but it's supposed to be really the best one on the market right now. So I may go with that one. See how that works and then connect it all. So those will be some really good benefits. The other thing on this camera is, you know, you can use it as a dash cam. So you could plug it, you mount it in your car, and you can tell the settings that every time plug it in through the USB port into the cigarette lighter or the auxiliary port, and that way every time the car starts, it turns on the power and it automatically starts recording, and it'll just do it on a loop. So if there was something really cool you did, or there was an accident or a road rage incident, you know, whatever it was, you'd always have like the last 10 hours or whatever of video running constantly. It would just overwrite itself, but you'd always have the most recent. That to me is really cool. It also has a phenomenal, best on the market you can buy right now, night mode called Pure Vision. This thing has a massive freaking sensor with a really nice camera lens array set up by Leica. And so at night you put it into pure video mode, and you can do like 4K 30 or whatever at night, and it looks really, really good. It picks up everything. It's not all blown out shadows. It doesn't have it all blurry from the image stabilization. Like, it's legit. At night with just your headlights and street lights, that's all you need. You can get good quality riding video in those situations. That to me is freaking awesome. It's also got massive LEDs on the front, so very quickly I can see. Before it was a little pinhole LED, and I'm always like, is the camera running? Is the camera running? Here it's a big wide bar that's like 3/4 of an inch wide and about 2.5 millimeters tall. So at a glance you can see very easily, is this thing on or not. Yeah, the image stabilization's better. There's some new AI tool. You know, there's some things I probably won't use, but I wanted to up the game a little bit and get better quality video than what I was getting, because that was something I looked at and I'm like, you know what? When the old Hero 9 or 10, whatever the last one I had, I think it was the 10. That's the one I shot with a rifle in protest when it kept overheating. That thing was, when it worked, it took really good video. And I was looking at some of my track footage from the Z900RS and the ZX6R. That was the last track day I did with that camera. And I'm looking at the quality of the video at 4K 60, and I was like, you know what? It looks better than the newer cameras I bought after that. Even though it's from, let's see, those bikes were 2020, so those track days were from like 3 years ago. And they look better than the videos I'm producing now. So I was kind of like, do I go back to GoPro? And I wasn't able to make myself do it, just because of all the problems and the fact that I know they haven't fixed them yet. But seeing that this now takes as good a video and in lower light conditions blows the GoPro out of the water, I was like, that's an easy choice. So the software on it works pretty well. It's easy to update it right from your phone. Insta's actually adding like new software and features and enhancing things. They're pretty responsive about bugs or, you know, things like that. So yeah, so far, you know, hopefully we'll see the video quality later. You know, one thing I might be able to do is stop using iMovie and go back to another program that lets me use a higher bit rate. Vulture. So we'll see. You know, that could be part of it as well. But this thing should take really amazing stable video. You know, the One RS 4K I had, that is a 2-year-old camera. So this is the new one, I think came out in November. So it's the latest and greatest. They had the Ace and then the Ace Pro, which had a better lens and a better setup. So, and the price was only $399, so it wasn't really much more than the GoPro. And I don't know, maybe the GoPro does have the ability to link it to your comms and all that kind of stuff, but this one does it, my old one didn't. But it does say that it works with Sena and Cardo, and then there's a list of other ones. So if you want something where you don't need those extra wires and that kind of shit, you just want an amazing camera with good battery life. Now this one isn't modular like the old one. It takes internal batteries like a GoPro, so you can swap them out if you want to bring extra batteries with you. It does support, the Ace Pro does support fast charging, so you could charge that 1700 whatever, I don't know what the milliamp is. I think it's right around that. You can charge those up pretty quickly through USB-C, so I usually carry a power brick in there, so if I'm doing a bunch of recording and then stop for lunch, I'll usually pop the camera off. Oh, and this camera uses the quick disconnect style that DJI kind of started the ball rolling with. Really robust. It has a magnetic guide. You just kind of put it on and then snap it in. And the springs are tight, so you do have to pinch it a good bit to get it off, but it's secure. It ain't going anywhere unless you crash, in which case you got bigger stuff to worry about. But it's, I did go ahead and get the 9H glass screen protectors. So I put them on the front, so if a rock or something hits it, I won't crack the front lens cover. Because I don't think these ones are removable. I don't think they twist off. That might. Don't quote me on that. I thought I remember. Maybe it was the Ace that didn't, but the Ace Pro does. I don't know. So if you do crack it, I can just peel off that lens protector and put another one on. Got a 2-pack delivered overnight. That came with the front display, the big rear flip-up display, and the front lens cover. I got a 2-pack for like $8 delivered. It's perfect. So yeah, so by the time I get over the side of the dam, I'm going to shut the camera off, wait till I get up to the mountains, and what I'm going to do then is switch to like horizon leveling or some other things, and I'll put labels at the bottom of the video to show you what settings I'm using at any given time. So this one is 4K 60, no HDR, image stabilization high, vivid color palette, EV comp negative 0.5, negative 18 dB on the wired external mic. Hopefully that works out well. I will turn the camera on briefly when I get up to Route 400 here, because I'm going to have to, you know, go on the interstate, and that's where the road noise gets really loud from the wind, and I want to make sure there's no crackling and blowing out. So we'll do that after this with the same video settings, just a different audio thing. And then when I get up to the mountains, I'm going to go out of the, let's see, there's action, ultra wide, de-warp, which is more linear without the corner distortion when it removes the fisheye, but it is a closer in. It doesn't give you as wide and panoramic. I am using 16.9 aspect ratio, and then the other setting is the 45-degree horizon setting. I have to go into freeform video to do the 360 view, the 360 gimbal effect. I don't know that I would use that, because then you have to do a lot of the processing in post through the camera app, and I like being able to just grab the SD card and just throwing it, you know, onto my MacBook and doing everything from there. But in freeform, I don't know, I might do freeform on some video. I'm going to do some testing, because there are some cool AI effects in the software that you could pull out and do your overlays of speed and elevation and GPS, you know, some other things like that. And then it saves it to a file on your phone. And I guess then at that point I could just, it's extra steps and extra time, but then I can just airdrop it quickly to my MacBook and then do my cutting, splicing, editing, you know, things like that from there. Added my intros, transitions, basic stuff. So I'm going to experiment with that, because what I do now is I've always been just taking the SD card out, putting it into a reader, and pulling it into the MacBook. But then I don't get to use any of the cool AI tools that you get in their software. So we'll see. We'll play around and see if there's an advantage to doing it, if it takes extra steps and some things, but maybe then it gives me some cool effects, because I know you can add like a motion blur without the ND filter. It's like an ND filter mode, and that is pretty cool. This thing does have a separate 5nm AI processor just for that kind of stuff, so that could be cool, you know, because I play with the ND filters and they can be a pain, because you need to really know what you're doing, and you got to choose the settings for that ND filter based on what's going on right now. Well, before it was cloudy when I left the house. Now it's bright and sunny. In a minute it could be dark and cloudy again. And so then my settings, or it might not be the appropriate ND filter. So having it do it automatically by analyzing the footage and deciding kind of how to do it and giving me that motion blur, that could be kind of cool. Oh, the other thing is image sharpness is on medium. That seems to be, from all the experts, they said low, and you can sharpen it in post, or just pick medium. Don't go to high or extra or anything like that, because it does make it look a little bit too digitized. If you want it to look nice and smooth and fluid, they said 4K 60 with low or medium sharpness. You can always sharpen it up in post if you need, but if it's too sharp, just like the audio, if the audio's low, you can always boost that in post. Same thing with color. If the audio's too loud or it's too sharp, you lose image quality when you try to unsharpen it in post. And if the audio's too loud and it's blown out and clipping, nothing you can do about it. You can make the clipping quieter, but it's not making the audio better. So anyway, that's what's going on. See, now we've gone from sunny back to kind of cloudy. So this thing, I left the ISO and the shutter speed and all. I just left it in auto because honestly, this, at least the last camera, and I would assume this would be the same or better, does tend to do a pretty good job of auto settings in most things. So unless you're playing with your ND filters and you really know what you're doing and you're setting up for that shot and you know what your lighting is going to be and all that kind of stuff, I think for most people, bring the EV comp down a little bit so that if you're not using HDR, which you can't at 60 frames currently, it does bring down and help the sky from getting overexposed. And you can go negative 0.5 or negative 0.1. Or negative 0.5 or negative 1, I think is what it is. I'm using negative 0.5. We'll see. I might experience it negative 1. The problem is then when it is cloudy, or you're going under the trees or something in the woods, you know, it might be too dark. So, can you boost it and bring the stuff back? Yeah, it's always easier to boost things and get it back than it is if it's overblown. You can't really get that detail back. You can make it darker, but it doesn't really bring out what were shadows and make them clear. If something's kind of shadows in the dark within range, you can usually boost the brightness and bring that detail out so you can see some of it. But it's always hard taking things out. It's always easier adding things in. So, although if I'm going to the mountains, I probably should have worn something more than thin jeans. I probably should have worn my riding jeans or my riding pants. Didn't even think of that. I don't know if we'll do the mountains. We'll see. Let's see, where am I? Alright, well I'm going to shut down, save a little bit of battery, and then I'll be back on the highway, see how the audio sounds, because that's where it would tend to blow out. Driving around like this, pretty much any of the microphone setups I've used were good. Once the engine's screaming and you got high wind noise, that's when the audio would typically go to shit. So we'll go and play with that in a few minutes, and we'll be back. Alright, I'm gonna do this highway run to see the noise again, because I'm not sure I did it right before. There are some differences in the controls on the camera. So it's set up for auto or quick shot or whatever, so you just push the top button and it automatically just starts doing whatever the last thing it was doing. But because of the pause feature, I might have to hit the button more than once, so when I'm going to shut it down, I think I might have paused it when I thought I was shutting it down, which means then the next time I went to do something, I might not have, I don't know. One of those things where you turn the camera on when you think you're turning it off and vice versa. So you got the video of it sitting on the bike in the parking lot, but not the ride there. So, we'll see. Right now, I know it's recording. I've got red light flashing. Yeah, we're good on that. So I want to see, make sure I get footage of this and make sure my audio levels are decent. So what are we doing, 70-something miles an hour? Faster. Make sure the wind isn't causing static or clipping or popping. Make sure my voice is still able to be heard. Yo yo, testes, testes, 1, 2, 3. Wouldn't mind going just a little bit faster to get the wind noise up, because I, of course, have no fairing. You're getting much more wind blast, although it isn't turbulent, which is nice. If I can get out ahead of these cars, don't want to get a ticket, but if I can get up to like 80, 90 just to see, because anything over that, it's like you're not really vlogging at 100 plus. So let's see what happens. Alright, let's go. Wake up, truck. Old lady in the Mustang's gone. I just need to get out ahead of everybody. Why do people always just... They get in this lane because I think it's going to be faster. I got to be first at the light. They're just slow as fuck anyway. Like, you're a slow driver no matter what lane you're in. And usually I'm in the Corvette or wanting to go quick. But like that person wants to kind of go up a little bit. And someone always is second in line, and they make sure they get over in that front line. And then they go 10 miles an hour slower than the person they were behind. Alright, so we're up in... See how this sounds. Testing, testing. Can you hear my voice well, or is it overpowered by the wind noise? And that's the other thing is, you know, as the wind noise goes up, you feel like you have to talk louder. And that's when, you know, sometimes the microphone might be fine. But because you're like, oh, the wind noise is here, I need to shout. And then that's what blows out the audio. So that's where I'm going to try both and see. Does that work? If I were to say, holy cow, loud noises, does it sound okay, or am I getting clip-ins? Not to be confused with the clip-ins, Cameron. Alright, signing off. We'll be back. Oh, I'm so annoyed right now. You know, there's a lot of things I love about the state of Georgia, but the weather is absolute dog shit so much of the time. Sunny and beautiful, except for the roads I want to go. They're all wet, raining, and I was gonna go to Blood Mountain, and it's storming up there out of the nowhere. So then I'm like, oh, I'll go the other way through Dahlonega, go down to Route 9. There's some twisties down there. And then it starts raining that way. So I guess I'm just gonna have to go home. And that's my only real option here, is just go home. So I'll have a tiny little bit of twisties right here. So I guess I'll have to try out the camera mode there briefly for 8 or 9 turns. Which is basically, it's like, yeah, Georgia's nice because it's warm and you know you can ride year round, but springtime in Georgia is horrible because springtime lasts from April until about the first week of August. It rains 3 to 5, 6 days a week, and so most of that time you just don't get to ride a lot. It'll be nice during the week and it'll just rain every friggin' weekend. Today was supposed to be nice up here, and it just isn't. There's storms all over the friggin' place because, God forbid, a weatherman do his job. So, anyway, I want to try this horizon leveling. I figured today would be a good day to kind of test out the camera and figure out the settings and get it set up the way I want, so then when we're out doing a group ride or a real ride, you know, I will get good footage. See, it's beautiful over there. Problem is, over there it's flat and nothing going on, so I guess I'll just go home and watch TV or something. But at least it's a couple twisties here, so the bike will be leaning, I'll be leaning. I want to see how the gimbal effect works when it's not mounted to the bike. I need to order a part. I lost one of the parts that I needed to mount it to the bike. But then I got to figure out the audio because the wind noise, that's all you'll hear. GoPro's the only. It sucks is that the shittiest camera, as far as reliability and overheating and all that, is unfortunately the only one that's figured out how to eliminate wind noise. So, just play a little bit. Hopefully I don't need bugs on the lens. I like to get some good quality. Oh, I like the way this thing drives off of turns. It's a little smoother and less abrupt than the MT. And then it hits that 7,500, 8,000 and the power band kicks in and then it takes off. But it's nice and smooth and predictable. Cut in a little bit there. Got a little exuberant getting on the gas. I would like to get around this guy. I'm going to wait till we get around the next bend. Make sure my lens is clear. Bum, 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 bum. Give me some clear road ahead. Come on, of course, there's 55 people coming. Alright. Only a couple turns left, so I want to be able to play a little bit. Although for a mail car, he was going at a good clip. Going faster than most of the locals, or most of the tourists up there do. I do love the way this thing rides, even if the Yamaha's faster. It's just so flickable, it just glides through the turns. Makes a pretty good noise. The microphone's not picking it up very well. Someone said it's the worst sounding stock exhaust ever. You fucking retarded. mean, not really. I want you to keep watching my videos, but it's this is not the worst sounding exhaust. Now, because of the tone and the loudness of the microphone in my helmet, which has got 2 windsocks on it, is tucked up inside the helmet away from the wind, and a gap in the cushions, you know, yeah, it probably isn't doing the best job of picking it up, but it's a good sounding stock exhaust, as good as a stock exhaust will sound. So there's only a couple turns left up a ways, and they're going to be more sweepy, so I'm not sure if you'll see them or not. You may edit all this stuff out after this. But so far, the only, you know, and it's not a glitch, it's just a learning curve, like with the camera, because it now has a pause feature. So when you want to turn it off, it's not as simple as, you know, the old camera and most, excuse me, just sneezed right into the microphone. Most of the cameras have a quick record. So whatever mode the camera's in, when you turn it off, so you set up your video mode the way you want, or picture, or time lapse, you know, whatever. And then you basically just push the, not the power button, you push the shutter button, and it just starts. And when you're done, you push it once to stop, and that's it. Start to stop, push to start, push to stop. Well, here, it's push to start, push to pause, quick double click to stop, push to pause, and then within so many seconds you can push it again to unpause, but then you can't shut it. It's like engineers, and this is not this camera, it's phones, it's everything. A lot of time the people who put things together, the product managers, not product, they're not actual users of their products, I think, because they completely miss ergonomics, or they don't think about actual use cases of how someone who's going down the road doesn't have time to count the clicks and wait so many seconds. It's like you just want to push the button, and then if you want to add a pause feature, which is a cool thing to have, like that's a good thing. Someone said we should have this, and they go, yeah, no one else has that. That would be something we have, and we could say as a differentiator. Okay, great. How do we do it in such a way that it makes it the experience better and not worse? Because if it's a function that makes it clunky and awkward, and you end up missing video footage because you paused it when you thought you were turning it on or whatever, then it's like you're making it the experience worse. So you could put it on the package and in the commercial, hey, we can do this, but if you're doing it in a way that takes away from the core functionality, then it's a shit implementation, even if it's a good idea. And so many companies get that wrong. They come up with the cool idea, but they don't think. This thing has 2 buttons. Keep it simple. Start, stop. 1 click to start, 1 click to stop with the same button. If you want to pause it, then while it's running, make it the other button. But they can't, because they made the other button they thought it would be like, well, that'd be a cool way to switch between modes. 1 click. Problem is, if it's on your helmet, you can't see what mode you're clicking to, so it's virtually useless anyway. If you're mountain biking, skiing, you got to be looking at the actual screen to see what mode you're clicking to. So they got 2 features that don't really work in practice the way they do on the spec sheet when they put in the blurb on the website to say it can do this and it can do that. Yeah, but not really in real terms. It just doesn't work well. So I don't know why, for some reason I just downshifted. I forgot this is not GP shift. I rode that for years and got used to it, and I catch myself, even though I haven't ridden GP shift in like 7 years, every once in a while I found myself doing it out of habit. I need to see if I can reverse this, but I think I have to change something. I don't know. I think I have to get different rear sets. Another benefit of Yamaha and Honda and Cowie and everybody else is you can just switch the linkage from one side to the other. The Italians, no. Same thing here when I want to adjust the lever for the shifter to move it down a little bit. It's not just that little, you loosen the bolt and then spin the rod and then retighten it. I got to take the left rear set off to adjust that. It's like 5 bolts to do that. And so then when you want to test it, you can't just twist it, click, test it, twist it some more until it feels right. You got to basically guesstimate it and then put it back together and try it. And then if it doesn't work, take the rear set off and start, make another adjustment, put it back on. Little things like that. But it is Italian. This is how we do. Why would anybody want to change it? I don't know, because we got different feet and riding positions. That apparently did not occur to Luigi. Or Vincenzo. Thank God the bike is beautiful to look at and glorious to ride once you do dick around with it and get it set up. So, look at how this video will turn out. Really hoping the audio turns out well, or that'll be the next thing I'm gonna have to do is buy something or get it. I've got other microphones. I mean, I could always go back to the wired that has the batteries. That was the best microphone I've used so far. That's what I've been using for the last year. The problem is it's got a 10-foot cord. Why they thought that was needed. And so I can't, it's not like, oh, if you only got a foot or two, you can coil it up and stick it under the cheek pad in your helmet, keep it out of the way. There, it's got an 8 or 10-foot cord, and it's got this box that has the battery in it. So there's no place for any of that shit. So then I have to run a wire down into my pocket, coil up the wire with that battery box, and then run the wire back up into the helmet and then over to the camera. So it's a down and back and a coil in my pocket. And it's really kind of a pain. It works. It works well, but it's very inconvenient. So for me, it's nice having just a regular condenser microphone that isn't powered, that just sits coiled up into the cheek in your helmet. And then, wow, there's a lot of tar snakes on this road. Oh, baby goats. Oh, baby goats. Yeah, so that's hopefully the audio will work. And if this works acceptably for now, then all I've got to do is get another Cardo or Sena and not want to use the Bluetooth. You won't hear the exhaust much from that. It does a good job of getting rid of that noise. Although actually I could probably turn off the noise canceling, but then I might be picking up all the wind. I guess we'll have to figure that out. I'll watch some videos and see who's using that exact setup and see how well it works. This is a sort of fun road in the car. So I'll be working hard and probably spending a little bit of money to try and improve the video quality. And I think once I get it down to where the video quality is like really nice and spot on with really good audio, I'll go buy a damn video editing package that'll let me do some other stuff to kind of dress up the videos, nicer transitions, make them a little bit more professional, and see if I can up the video quality or at least the production value. But for me, I didn't want to do that until I really got the audio and video quality where I wanted it to be. Thinking it would be like putting lipstick on a pig, like, oh, it's got cool animations and intros and outros, but the video's kind of meh. Even if I guess probably most people are watching on their phones anyway, then it's not. I'm used to looking at things on a 75-inch 4K screen or 42-inch 4K screen. So to me, I see if it's kind of blurry or if it's not smooth or whatever. But you take a giant video like that might look okay, and you put it down on a screen, on a little screen, it makes it that much sharper, and it looks, I guess, brilliant. screen. I want it to, you know, look right. I think we're going to be done here. Unfortunately, Blood Mountain and Twisty Bits and Richard Russell is all back that way, and it's all storming. And riding in the rain, I hate. It means I got to clean the bike. It ruins the footage. You got water all over the lens, and you have to slow it down. It's just, it's no good. No bueno. So, yeah, you could tell that way. Look how shitty the weather is. That's the area I wanted to go to today. It's probably the only area in the whole fucking state that's pouring rain right now. Next weekend was supposed to be sunny and 86 both days. Now it's turning cloudy, and I'm sure it'll be rain by the time the weekend rolls around. And unfortunately, that is the reality of living in Georgia. April through July, into July, it's just like living in southern Florida. It just rains every day. It'll be nice on a Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's about it. So our riding season doesn't really, like where you got predictably good weather that you can ride pretty much any day you want, doesn't really start most years until August, when the summer's half over. The upside is, you know, you can ride through the winter months, whereas up north your bike would be in storage. That's the trade-off. So anyway, folks, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go home. I got some play with some stuff. I do need to eat at some point. All I had was a granola bar, and it's already 2 o'clock. Had a granola bar and a cup of coffee. That is it. So hopefully this video, I'm moving my head around. Yeah, look how bright and beautiful it is. Damn it. I was getting poured on 20 minutes ago. I come to the boring side of town and nothing. It's great. So hopefully this video all works out well. I'll try to dress it up as good as I can. I'll have in the bottom, I'll have a little thing of what video mode it's in. Everything's 4K 60, you know, all that stuff's the same. The only difference is going to be the field of view. On the first part of the video, I've been doing action view, which is a super wide, like the super view on GoPro. That does give you a little fisheye effect, but it does look kind of cool and big and panoramic. So maybe that'll look good. Or maybe the horizon leveling will look good. I know that when it's mounted to the bike, which I remind myself to go and order that piece when I get home. When it's mounted to the bike, the horizon balancing will look much better. You put that there, but I need to not have the wired microphone. I'll have to go wireless at that point. So, but that's going to be probably my preferred method of shooting once I get a new comm system. Mounted rigid to the bike, that lets me see the display. I can see what's going on. I can change settings on the fly, pause, do all the things I need to do, because here it's in front of my mouth. And I can't have it up in front of my face, so I can't really see. I just have to look in the mirror and see if the light's flashing and what color the light is, and that sort of tells me what's going on. When I get it here, I'll be able to make adjustments on the fly and do what I need to do, and I should be able to capture much better shots. And with the audio going through the Bluetooth, I don't have to worry about cables all over the place and any of that nonsense. And that'll give me that gimbal effect, which really does look cool. I think those were the best riding videos I had when I was doing it that way, was having that gimbal effect on with horizon leveling and 4K 60 and all that stuff. I kind of want to get back to that. And this dick, of course, goes in the passing lane, and he's going to be slow. Ugh. Come on. Get out the way. I don't want to be stuck behind you and you hit a bump and suddenly there's 2x4s. Hurry up and get over, dude. I always have a fear of riding behind guys in pickup trucks or guys with trailers, because they tend to just throw my beer cans and throw my shit and garbage and trash in the back, and they use it as a garbage can. And then you're going down the road behind them, and armadillo. All of a sudden, they hit a bump, and there's bags of McDonald's and beer bottles and a toaster or flying past your head or smacking into the front of your bike. I've had that happen. It's really annoying, people that just throw shit in the bed of their truck and just assume, oh, it'll stay there. No, it doesn't. It ends up in the road or in someone's face or dinging the dent on their car. It's because you're stupid and lazy. You can't be bothered to throw it out properly. Someone else gets a chip in their windshield, or guy in a Harley catches a brick or a piece of 2x4 in the face. Anyway, I digress. I'm gonna shut this thing off. I probably won't be back. So everybody, have a good day. Hopefully this video turns out good. Tell me which view you liked better, if you had a preference. We'll talk later.